Okay, so you need a t-chart to find critical values. It's a little bit easier, I think, than a z-chart, but you have to know what you're looking for. Now, remember, when we used the t-chart last time, we used this one right here because we were doing confidence intervals. This time, we're not doing confidence intervals. This time, we're doing tails. We're doing a tail test. And we're either doing a one tail test, and a one tail test is either a left or a right, or we're doing a two tail test. So this one was a left tail test, and the alpha was 0.05. So we go to the t table and we look up in the one tail column 0.05. Okay, so this is going to be the column that we're looking in. Now remember, the horizontal thing, the row that we look in is not a sample size, it's degrees of freedom. I had a lot of you mess up last time you were using this table because you failed to pay attention that this is degrees of freedom. So I'm looking for my sample size is 14. So that means that my degrees of freedom is going to be 13. And I need that to find my critical value. Okay, so I'm going to go back to degrees of freedom. That's 13. So I'm going to go down to 13 right here. Here's 13. And 0.05 is my alpha. So it looks like this is going to be my critical value. So T is 1.771. So my critical value T is 1.771. All right. So now we have to find our test statistic. Our test statistic is this formula up here. We're going to do X bar, which is 19,189. And remember, Stat Crunch and the calculator will both do this. I'm just going to do an example of each one of these. Each example that I do, I'll do it a different way. So this one I'm using formulas and tables. And the next one I'll do Stat Crunch, and then the next one I'll do calculator. So this is the sample mean minus the 21,000, all divided by the sample standard deviation, 2950, divided by the square root of our sample size. Okay. So you do that, and your T comes out to, I believe, negative 2.30. Now, I just did not type that in my calculator right then. I've calculated this on a previous problem. So if you disagree with this, that's probably because I made a mistake last time, but I'm pretty sure it's right. If you disagree with me, then let me know, and I'll go back and actually calculate it. Okay, so that is my T value. Now, oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell you this. So I put down 1.771. I know that's not right. And you should know that's not right too. So this is what we wrote down. But remember, we're doing a left tail test. So this says that when we write it down, if it's a left tail test, we automatically make it a negative. Because if it's a left tail test, then we are going to be looking at negative T values because we're going to be on the left of the middle. If it was a right tail test, then you just write that number down. So I did forget to do that, but maybe I'm glad that I forgot to do it because now we had a chance to talk about it. So this should be a negative 1.771. And the only reason I knew it's negative is because we're doing a left tail test. And now we're going to wonder, where does the placement of this little darling go? Negative 2.3. Negative, if this is negative 1.7, negative 2.3, that's going to be my T value, my test statistic, negative 2.3. That's going to be in the rejection region. So, because it's in the shaded section, so what does that mean we're going to do? We are going to reject H sub O. All right, now that's if we're doing the rejection region. If we're comparing the p-values, then that means that we need a p-value for this negative 2.3. And I really don't remember how to do that except for doing it on StatCrunch. So I guess I better go, or using the calculator. So I guess I better remind myself real quick how to do it. And I will start the next video in just a minute, because we still are going to compare P to alpha. Okay, that's what we're going to do. But I need a p-value for this test statistic. I know it's going to be a number because its area is obviously going to be smaller because it's farther out on the number line. But I still got to remember how to look it up. So I'll be back on the next video to tell you how to do that.